Yo, what is up? What's going on? There we go. Thank you for tuning in to another DLE Fitness live stream show. How's everybody doing today? Happy New Year. Yes, sir. Oh man, we are already 3 days into 2026. Jesus, what already happened to the time? 3 days in, it was just Happy New Year yesterday. This is what it feels like. But man, thank y'all for tuning in, man. We are here today for our first stream of the new year. Yes, sir. Hopefully you're having a good Saturday. Depending on where you're at in the world, it probably is your Sunday. But whatever the case of the day may be, however you're feeling, man, hopefully you're having a good day. And if you're having a bad day, let Mr. Child break it down to you.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
And as long as you are still here with us and still alive and still breathing, man, you can still make something great happen and do something better with your life because, yes, we are in an opportunity period of life. So hopefully you stay focused. You don't have no dead weight. You get out of debt. You don't have anybody holding you back. Any Debbie Downers or any succubus or vampire drainers in your life. You get rid of all that nonsense and keep focusing on what you got to do to move forward and just excel in this moment of opportunity. Yes. Okay, got to make sure my sound is on because I had that happen before and the sound wasn't playing. But just let you know, we are multi-streaming or we're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor. When you see that thumbs up, hit the like button or even the hype button. I think that's on there, but maybe it's just on videos. But whatever case may be, hit that like button, get the algorithm out. We're also on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. If you're watching over there, go ahead and give your boy a like or a follow. It is greatly appreciated and all that good stuff. If you want to contribute to today's show, there's Cash App and the Venmo. Cash App Daniel2888, Venmo Danny-Daniel-00. Yes. Oh my goodness. Now, let's go ahead and jump into today's show because it is the year 2026. We're January 3rd. And we are shortly into this year already, and we already got some shit going on. Oh boy, man, I tell you right now. So if you've been sleeping under a rock, if you don't know by now, we're going to kick the show off and just let you know that today might just be an economy show. Probably won't even have nothing related to AI in this show because everything is going to be economy basis. There's so much going on with the economy. It's just like, I don't even know where to start. There's a few things I want to tackle, but we're just going to start with the obvious elephant in the room. And if you've been living on a rock, if you do know or don't know, if you did know, what's his name? Maduro over in Venezuela has been captured. Yes, sir. As you may see or have not heard already, Maduro has been captured in Venezuela, and the people in Venezuela are having a field day. So we're just going to jump in and start with that situation right there. Let me go ahead and get this put up on the screen so you can see this. You probably haven't seen it. Well, you probably have already because it's already halfway through the day, and people have been posting this like crazy, but I'm going to be another one to do it. So let's go ahead and check it out and see right here what's going on with this. And let's take a look at this right here and see Venezuela being released from a dictator and are actually no longer have Maduro as the dictator. Let's take a look.
Venezuela, the political turmoil unleashed after Nicolas Maduro claimed victory in the South American country's presidential election. There are widespread accusations of fraud, with the U.S. and other countries casting doubt on the results. CBS's Lilia Luciano is the only U.S. network correspondent inside Venezuela.
Whoops, that's not the victory. That's him winning and people not agreeing with it. But we'll just move right on over here. Where is it? I had it a second ago. I don't know what the hell I did with it. I lost it. Well, if you didn't know, that's why people were so mad at Maduro, because of the simple fact that they felt like he shouldn't have won or be in the position that he was in. So therefore, they've been catching hell lately over dude being in there. But here we go. Let's take a look at some Venezuela celebrating Maduro getting captured. There we go. Let me put that back up for you. Let's try this again. Here we go. Let's see some celebration. As you can see, the Venezuelans are pretty ecstatic and pretty stoked. As you can hear the cheers as they revere that Maduro has been apprehended. I think they got him and his wife, if I'm not mistaken. But look at this. These people, I believe, were under a communist regime. a dictatorship or authority, or is authoritarian or whatever communist regime that's been going on that they've been under. And they have not been too happy about it for the past, I guess, so many decades, which is what I was showing you earlier. So let's go ahead and see exactly how it came to be. Well, actually, we'll look at that here in a second. But let's go ahead and look at some more of Maduro getting, apprehended and stuff like that, and seeing why the people of Venezuela are so happy. Let's see some more celebration from Venezuela here in Maduro getting captured. There you go. As you can see, people are very, 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 very excited that, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This one's actually pretty good here. And you see they tore a man's picture down right here too. Let's take a look at this right here. They tore it down. All right, then let's go ahead and dive in and read this story again and get an understanding as to why they're so excited that man is gone. So let's go ahead and take a look at this to see exactly what they feel. Because what they feel like is he won the election by allegedly by hook and by crook, and it's been a complete shit show with hyperinflation and everything going on. But let's let the news people talk about it here. So give you a backstory as to why people are so happy that this is happening. So here we go.
Thousands of demonstrators are taking to the streets across Venezuela tonight to protest what they say is an attempt by Nicolás Maduro to steal the country's election.
There's a lot of tear gas that's been deployed by police. We're seeing a group of protesters. We can't figure out how many, but there's perhaps a few hundred there, a few dozen. The line is back there. There's a few of them that are to the line of police. There's some of them throwing back the canisters that are being thrown at them, and police are assembling in large numbers over here to confront them.
Venezuela's strongman Nicolás Maduro has claimed victory for a third term, despite exit polls showing challenger Edmundo González ahead by more than 30 points. The international community has joined those calls for transparency, as they did in Maduro's last disputed election win in 2018.
We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people.
All right, so you basically get the idea. So he won the election, and they were just not too happy about dude winning the election. They was just like, hold on, man, something ain't right. It was like, wait a minute, we know we didn't vote this dude in, but however, he got in, and he did what he did while he was in there. Let me get this turned down. But and as you can clearly see, the people are extremely stoked because they said that he has been captured, and him and his wife got captured. Damn, they got a picture up already showing him apprehended and all that stuff. Okay, well they got the pictures and stuff of it. And as you can see, they're very excited and very, very happy.
Junto a Edmundo González.
I don't understand what she's saying, but it sounds like she's ecstatic and stoked and feel like it's a blessing and all that good stuff. And, if you were living under a period of just complete absolute tyranny and hyperinflation, because their currency did collapse. That's one thing, because they use the dollar now. They use the dollar. They don't have their own currency anymore because they're hyperinflated to oblivion. So everybody who had anything in that country, they lost everything. The whole currency reset and went to complete zero messing around with that dude. So you can only imagine what they were going through. And I did a video showing some of that hyperinflation going on and how people would try to buy food and buy stuff at the grocery store, and things would run out of meat and dairy and stuff like that. And a dude showed how much $100 would get him in the Venezuelan currency. I forget the name of it. And the dude spent $100, and they gave this dude stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks, which would have been millions of dollars for us, but it was only a measly $100 for them. And he had a backpack full and couldn't even put it all in there. It was ridiculous. So, For those people over there in Venezuela, man, it's got to be a great feeling that Maduro has been captured. And there's a gentleman who actually spoke a little bit deeper on the situation instead of just surface level of what everybody sees and what everybody knows. There's a guy I'm going to show you here in a second. He's going to exactly explain and expound a little bit deeper some more stuff that, you know, people may know. Another quiet day in the U.S. Is that quiet? Quiet? Yeah, quiet. Q-U-I-E. No, quiet is Q-U-I-E-T. Quiet. Quiet is what he said. What up, Tiny Aim? How you doing? Another quiet day in the USA. He said quiet. I'm over here reading it wrong. What's going on, Tiny Aim? How's everything doing, man? Yeah, we're looking at the Venezuela thing that's going on. Now, we're going to look here and see exactly how this looks. And we're going to have a guy speak on it. But first, let's take a look at some of the backlash of his previous thing. It says right here, Maduro is not the president of Venezuela and his regime is not legitimate government. Maduro is the head of the cartel, whatever this name is, a narco-terror organization that has taken possession of a country, and he is under indictment for pushing drugs into the United States. So as you can see, this is the kind of man that they were quiet. There we go. He said quiet. I was right. Another quiet day in the USA. So as you can see right here, that guy who just wrote that letter, that was Secretary Marco something, I would say. Mark something. I can't see his whole name. Secretary Rubio. And he was just explaining to you what they feel Maduro is in Venezuela and how the people felt about him. So you're seeing that there. So there's been a long thing going on about him. Could you imagine your currency being hyperinflated to oblivion? Which, I mean, living in America, I must say there's an undercurrent there. Yeah, I mean, but that's neither here nor there. But just that the turmoil and hell that they have been through and has been going on. So you can only imagine how the people feel. But let's take a look at this is not about drugs. This is about oil. Hey, slow your roll. Hold on, Abe. Slow your roll. Hold on. I can't read your comments. Slow down. That is true. All right, but let's let a Venezuelan. He's gonna sit here. He's gonna speak about the situation with Maduro and exactly what is going on. So let's go ahead and take a look at this gentleman here. He's going to give us his 2 cents and speak on his feelings and how he feels, and understanding his take on the Venezuelan victory, and give you an understanding of Maduro that was in power. Now, this person here, they put here for all the wringing their hands in fake moral outrage over President Trump's action on Maduro. You have zero understanding of the geopolitical significance this action has for not just Venezuela, but for Western civilization. And they're going to say to let this Venezuelan educate us. So we're going to let this man educate us, and we're going to hear what he has to say and take his words into consideration, because you're going to get a little bit of insight from somebody who was there. So let's let this man take it away and see what he has to say about Venezuela and the current situation right now. So here we go.
Okay. As a Venezuelan American, I got some shit to say. My family, my parents, my sister, my extended family, all lost everything. Their work, their savings, their investments, gone. Wiped out by a narco dictatorship that has held Venezuela in a death grip for over 25 years.
Okay, so just real quick, that needs to be something noted and taken into consideration real quick. He said that his family, cousins, everybody he know lost everything. Everything. And if you're trying to figure out what he means the Venezuela currency hyperinflated. If you are living in a country and your currency hyperinflates, that means your savings, that means your pensions, that means your stocks, that means everything that you've ever worked for has wiped to completely zero. That means everything. So like whatever your grandparents or your parents had saved up in retirement, gone, unless they had it in like some kind of hard assets. But if they just had it in banks and savings and pensions and stocks and all that shit's gone. So that's what he's referring to, saying that they lost everything. And to be honest with you, it probably does go deeper than that. But I'm just speaking on a hyperinflation part. Being a Venezuelan, I'm pretty sure he can tell you that this shit goes much deeper than just that. But just just keep that in mind and think about that as we move forward. But let's let this man continue. Here we go.
And what happened to my family has happened to millions, and yes, millions. The Venezuelan exodus is the second largest displacement crisis on earth after Syria. This is not just a tragedy. It is one of the great humanitarian disasters of our time. But the suffering doesn't end there. This regime has jailed hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands have been murdered simply for speaking out. More than a third of the population has fled. 1/3. Not for better opportunities or for the American dream, but to survive, to live, because staying often means death. And while the world may see Venezuela as a collapsed state, what it is in reality is an occupied one. Our territory, our natural resources, and our institutions have been overrun by hostile foreign powers.
Now, take those words into consideration. Hostile foreign powers, their whole country was overtaken and overrun. With that being said, that could be, a communistic state that the country was living in. Or, you could say it was taken over by cartels, whatever you want to call it. Still, it's a communistic state. And the country just basically had to go through a really tough situation. But going through that tough situation, people should take heed to that and look at what it did to the people of Venezuela, because this is like the most recent situation of hyperinflation and a currency collapsing. This is a very, very recent one, and seeing the president get apprehended in today's time over years of this stuff going on. But it gets much deeper than that. And Tiny Aim, I'm gonna say that here in 1 second. Give me a second. But it gets much deeper than that. But just to keep in mind that when you see what Venezuela goes through, you can look at this as like a form of communism, or whenever a regime takes over and how they implement their will onto a country and what they can do. Rape, rob, steal, and pillage a entire country. But it gets deeper. Let's let him keep talking. Here we go.
Iranian militias, Chinese corporations, Russian intelligence, all exploiting our country with impunity.
Okay. Iran, China, and Russia exploiting it. Those are some harsh words.
Venezuela is no longer just a local crisis. It is now a geopolitical threat that endangers the entire Western Hemisphere. It has become a launch pad for an authoritarian expansion in the Americas. And in the midst of all of this, one woman has dared to lead the charge for freedom. Maria Corina Machado. In 2024, against every odd, she led a peaceful democratic uprising that won the election. Her team smuggled physical voting receipts out of the country, hard proof of victory that the regime tried to bury. Her courage has lit a fire in the hearts of millions of Venezuelans desperate to believe that change is still possible. But now some have questioned her decision to dedicate her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Okay, I get that. But here's the truth. It was a brilliant strategic move in the global chessboard of politics.
Now, that right there can be... I'm going to say this with that one. This could be, looking at it from a outside looking in point of view, if Russia and China and Iran were exploiting Venezuela, the question is, what were they exploiting Venezuela for? What could they have possibly exploiting Venezuela for? What does Venezuela have that China, Russia, and Iran could have been exploiting them for? I mean, we can always say drugs is one because all countries smuggle and run drugs. I don't care what you say, you know, like that's just the fact. But what else could it be that China, Russia, and Iran was exploiting the country for? What do you think it is? I got Tiny Aim right here. He says it's oil. He's saying that he thinks it's oil. We're going to dive deeper and try to figure that out. But let's let him keep going and let's let him finish up here real quick. Here we go.
Maria Corina is no fool. She knows exactly the kind of man Trump is. She knows how much he campaigned for it, loudly and relentlessly, to win that very same prize. She knows how symbolic and personal that recognition is to him. And precisely because of that, she understood that this gesture might be the thing that keeps his attention focused on Venezuela at a time when U.S. presence and pressure in the Caribbean is rising. She didn't dedicate that award to flatter him. She did it to protect and preserve the one kind of power that could help shift the course of history. Because for her, this isn't about pride. It's not about optics. It's about freedom. And let's be very clear. Maria Corina is not asking for the U.S. to invade Venezuela. She's not campaigning for war. Venezuela is already invaded. It is held hostage by a narco state, overrun by foreign agents and enemies of democracy, Russians, Iranians, Chinese, all operating freely, weaponizing our land and resources to expand their influence across Latin America. What Maria Corina is calling for, what millions of Venezuelans are praying for, is the support of the only military on earth capable of countering that threat and helping to free our people. This is not imperialism. This is liberation. She's not playing partisan games.
All right. He's got a minute left, but he's kind of, going on. So he's basically made the big point. And the big point is this. All right, so there's two ways you can look at it. All right, so Venezuela was under some deep, dictator or communist rule, however you want to look at it. They had a stranglehold on them, and you saw that Maduro was winning things kind of like by hook and by crook, and the people weren't happy because it's like, we're voting, but we can tell that you're cheating to put yourself in, and then you're putting us through hell and got us hyperinflated and destroying our currency and draining the resources. And then at the same time, America comes in and Trump comes in, and Trump's initial effort was to say that he's coming into Venezuela because of drugs. I'm like, okay, so you're going to go to Venezuela to save the country from the drug cartels that are bringing drugs into America. Bruh. Okay, I could partially understand that, but me knowing what I know with how life works, you never take the face value. You never take the story that they usually give you up front. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, you want to stop the drugs. You do want to stop drugs from coming into America, and you don't want to have all that stuff going on. So I get it. Yes, America's going in to stop Venezuela with all the drugs that they got going on. But if you dig a little bit deeper, there's something else we could also find. So let's see what we find here when we dig a little bit deeper. All right, so let's see here. Let's go to politics right here. Let's look at politics. This is a article that I found here. This is from December 23rd of last year, so not even 2 weeks old. Let's take a look and dive a little bit deeper and see if we can find something here. It says, what interest do China and Russia have in Venezuela? All right, so good old Donnie continues to ratchet up pressure on Venezuela, and there is also geopolitical element to the conflict. What interest do Russia and China have in the country? Well, The actions of the U.S. fleet in the Caribbean are increasingly causing the alarm, and the U.S. warships not only have alleged drug boats in their sights since early December, they've also been targeting oil tankers. Oh boy, okay, there it is. Oil tankers. But hold on. You don't think United States trying to get no oil, do you? Nah, United States wouldn't steal. United States wouldn't steal. They trying to do the right thing. Stop China and Russia from taking the oil, and they trying to give it back to the Venezuelans, right? Don't you think that's what they trying to do? Come on. Let's keep reading. Experts differ in their assessments of Venezuela's role in the drug trafficking, but they also agree that oil exports are vitally important to the South American country. Venezuela's economy may be in tatters, but it is sitting on the world's largest known oil reserve, estimated at more than 300 billion barrels. Oh boy. All right. I don't know if I should read anymore, but I'm going to read this last paragraph. It can safely be assumed that these mineral resources play a role in the strategic consideration of oil-friendly U.S. President ODT for his Venezuelan counterpart. They act as a lubricant for foreign relations. But the intensification of the conflict with Venezuela cannot be explained by oil alone. There are numerous other interests at play, as well as the U.S. and the other two great powers collide. China and Russia are pursuing their own aims in the country. Oh boy. So what did we just learn? We learned that Venezuela is one of the largest oil preserves in the entire world. 300 billion barrels. Russia and China were exploiting him for resources, and Iran too. And if you probably don't know anything, US and Russia and China have all been going at it for a while. And old Donnie was like, you say you got oil over there? Who getting some of that oil? China? Russia? He's like, oh yeah? All right. What else they got going on over there? Drugs. Oh yeah, we want to stop those drugs. Boy, we don't want those drugs over here. Nope. They shouldn't be smuggling drugs. That right there, if I can catch you bringing drugs over to my country, I'm going to get your ass. Oh yeah. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get your ass on drug charges. Yes, sir. I sure am. Yeah, that's right. But hold on.
But wait, there's more.
Once I get you on drug charges, I think that oil I think some of that oil gonna have to go ahead and slide on over some of this way, because I did the Venezuelan people a solid. So and plus China and Russia, they don't need all that oil, bro. They don't need all that oil. You know what I mean? And plus, if you don't know, we kind of put tariffs on China recently, and we ain't never had no good quarrels with Russia. You know what I mean? So like, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, I don't want to say it out loud, but we gonna go get Maduro for drugs, and then China and Russia,
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers,
we just gonna take the oil for ourselves, you know what I mean? That's gonna call it a buck, you know what I mean? That's what it is, you know what I mean? We're gonna call a spade, all right? That's what it is, yeah. But it's because of drugs, though. The oil was just there. We didn't know the oil was there to begin with. We had no clue. We stopped the drugs. We arrested you. And you just happen to be the world's largest oil. Who knew? It was like we hit the jackpot by accident. Question is, will any American oil company risk? Oh, dang it, where'd it go? Hold on. I'm trying to read that. Question is, will any American oil company risk going into Venezuela? I think not, because Donnie changes his mind every day of the week. Yeah, I mean, he do got some mind changes, and I can't disagree with you on that because I caught him. I actually did a stream. The last time I did a stream a couple days ago, I actually played a clip of him pulling the whole 180. I was like, bro, you literally went into the election saying this and now you're in the presidency saying the complete opposite. Like, you pulled a Democrat 101. Let's say, hey, okay, let me see. Somebody else talking. So yeah, as you can see, the Venezuela has a lot of oil, and this is kind of and to really put this into perspective, this is kind of like the Ukraine thing. Like, you know what? I'll let David Icke explain it. You can look at it from this perspective right here. I'll let David Icke go ahead and explain this real quick. He mentioned this in a. Well, you know what? I'll say that for later. With the Russia and the Ukraine thing going on, you can almost look at the Ukrainian and Russia war as like a United States and Russia war, but using Ukraine as a front to disguise the United States going into war. Then you have Russia and China exploiting Venezuela and the Iranian people. But you already know that China and Russia, kind of got beef with the United States, and they over there exploiting stuff from Venezuela, and then you literally go in and deliberately mess up their money. And we all knows what happens when you mess up somebody's money. You know what I mean? You go in there and mess up somebody's money, like that's grounds for a fight. Bruh. Like you messed up our money, we finna fight. I don't care if we was stealing and robbing their resources. We gonna fight. So now we have an indirect, well, not an indirect, we have a direct blow, but it's like a disguise trying to say that we went there for drugs, but really, it's for oil, and it's to basically put a slap in the face to China and Russia, because I think China and Russia, if I'm not mistaken, China and Russia are part of BRICS. If I'm not mistaken, I believe China and Russia is a part of BRICS, right? Let me see, China and Russia. Let me see, part of BRICS. I believe they are. China and BRICS, are they a part of Brazil, China? Yeah, and Russia, they are, and Iran. So they're all a part of BRICS. And as you know, the U.S. currency is going down. It's falling. It's going down, and everybody in BRICS is basically trying to sidestep the dollar, and they don't want to use the dollar anymore. They want to use something else. So Donnie going in to kind of pull this move is just kind of like showing like, hey, we still got a dog in this fight. We know you, Iran and Russia, Iran and China, y'all all a part of BRICS nation. Y'all doing everything y'all can to sidestep and not use the U.S. dollar, even though the dollar is going down and they're trying to find a way to collapse it. It is what it is. But this is kind of like a preventing or postponing the inevitable is how I look at it. You know what I mean? Like the dollar's collapsing. Donnie just came in, and like I say, Donald Trump is like the only thing that is, in a sense, slowing down the inevitable of what's to come. He's just slowing it down. That's all he's doing. And I mean, I guess I can commend him for that. Although he does, like you say, change his mind every 2 weeks. He is slowing down the inevitable crash or the inevitable collapse of the dollar. But he's just slowing it down, and he's just showing the BRICS like, hey, like you can't count us out yet. You know what I mean? Like we still got dog in this fight. We came in, we used that might, we used that force, we went and got him, grabbed him and his wife. You know what I mean? Like now, don't sit here and think that all because that they just went and got him for Venezuela, that China or Russia just gonna sit on the sideline and not do jack shit. That is the stupidest thing you could ever think. China, with the way they rock, I believe that they finna pull some. Probably Russia too. They both are going to pull a economic warfare tactic, which is going to put a lot of pain and strain economically on people. Because that's what we've been seeing a whole lot this year. Because Trump even said it himself, we're going into economic warfare. And that's what the kind of warfare we've been seeing a lot of economics. You know what I mean? Even with the Somali people, economics. All of this is going to be a financial strain on people. It's going to hurt like hell. Ukraine is the same for natural resources and grain. This also gives the green light for China and Taiwan. Yeah, true. And the other problem is that America has is that they have about $3.6 trillion of debt that needs refinancing this year. $37 trillion of debt and GDP of $25 trillion. Those numbers don't add up. Hey, that debt is going to continue to climb. That debt is never going to get settled or offset or whatever. They're just going to put that debt on the citizens or the rest of the world. However they're going to bring in this new digital currency, they're gonna try to offset that debt onto the rest of the world or onto the citizens, however they do it. So that debt is going to just continue to climb. That's never going to go down. That's a weapon. That debt is a tool. It's a weapon to be used. So yeah. So Venezuela, you can look at Venezuela as a short-term win, but a long-term L. That's how I would look at it. They need a Black Swan event to allow for the reset. Maybe so. I mean, I can't say that for sure. But you never. I mean, I just don't see them fixing that debt whatsoever. But yeah, Venezuela, short-term W. It freed the Venezuelans. Now, here's another way to look at it. I look at it like this. He goes in, okay, he frees the Venezuelans, allegedly. He liberates the Venezuelans from Maduro, right? Now, you got Minnesota got the Somalis right now, right? And they got the Somalis or whatever, or I can't just say Minnesota, but the Democrats got the Somalis, right? This could just be me overthinking it, but just kind of like thinking of it this way. If you go and you save the Venezuelans, then like now you probably got like the popularity of Venezuelans on the Republican side. So like the Democrats got the Somali immigrants as like their support system or supportive people for voters. So maybe Trump also pull like an immigrant card. Like maybe now I'll have some immigrant Venezuelan voters for the Democrat side, kind of like competing in a way with immigrants. You know what I mean? Like now the Republicans got the immigrants of Venezuelans to vote for them if, you know, Venezuelans choose to come over or whatever the case may be. It's just me thinking outside the box, just thinking, you know, a possibility that they could be kind of trying to pull like a side move because, you know, the Democrats got the Somali votes and all that stuff. So what if Trump could also pull this move and was like, not only we get the oil, you know, not only we stop drugs and also put a big smack to, you know, China and Russia, but now we probably got the vote of, you know, some immigrants from Venezuela. They only have a population of 28 million. Well, what's the population of Somalia? Let's see, population of Somalia. The population of Somalia it says over 18 million. So I mean, it's more than the Somalis. So I mean, you know, you still won on that one. So it could be, you know what I mean, it could be a move for immigrant voters because we have the midterm elections coming up. And there's this thing I want to show you regarding the midterm vote, and this person is about to speak on some stuff because don't ever think that this battle between the agenda is ever over. It's always a stage play, you know, left versus right. It's a stage play for a direction the bird is headed in, because it's still the left wing and the right wing is still part of the same bird. The bird is still going in the direction, regardless if the bird is being steered to the left or to the right. It's still going in the same agenda direction. That don't change shit. Don't let all this fool you. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit here and think like, oh, the red just won and now the blue's gonna fight back, and it's like they're going in the same direction. like, don't let that fool you. How do immigrants get to vote? Well, that's a good question you may ask, Aim. Oh, boy. So I don't know if you've ever, I don't know if you've heard about the situation that we had with Joe Biden and the current situation that we had with Minnesota that's been going on with immigrants coming in. They've been allowing immigrants to come in, and they've been, falsifying documents and paperwork and stuff like that. And they've been allowing them to, and they've been passing laws allowing the immigrants to come in, and they've been giving them the opportunity to vote for people in the governor and like the little bitty small places inside of each city and state, like Senate and all that stuff inside of the state. They've been allowing them to vote. And when Biden was voting, we found out in the back end that voter registration, like the mail-in ballots, they were, using, dead people's names and immigrants going in. Like you didn't have to have any, you don't have to have proof of ID to vote is what they're fighting for, which I don't think you have to have a proof of ID to vote right now. I think they were fighting to try to change that. Do you need proof of ID to vote? And yes, let me see. Do you need proof of ID to vote? Because there was something that they were having. There you go. Some states even allow voting without ID through specific procedures. So some states, you don't have to have an ID to vote. So if you let immigrants in through certain states, you don't have to have an ID to vote. So that's what kind of helps with letting these immigrants in to certain states. That was one of the big issues that we were having. So I'm thinking Trump has his immigrants with Venezuelans, if, me thinking outside the box, if that's one thing he also pulled for, while the Democrats got the votes of the Somalis. Because there's a big kerfunkel, there's a big ordeal going on right now with these Somalis and stuff like that. Plus we got the midterm elections coming up and all sorts of stuff. All this stuff is happening, and we 3 days into fucking 2026, which is crazy. We start off 2026 with a bang with Maduro and this, ordeal. They must have to prove themselves at some point. You would think that, bro. You would think that. You really would think that, but clearly not, because what do you, you really don't, because not all states require. As a matter of fact, let me show you, because I could tell you, but I could show you. Right here, voter requirements may vary in the United States. Some states require ID to vote in person, ranges from photo IDs like a driver's license to a non-photo ID, such as a birth certificate, social security card, while some states even allow voting without ID through specific procedures. So it's right there. With Texas being a non-strict photo ID state, so you can just have an ID card. But some places don't really even allow that. And then some places you just have to do a mail-in ballot. Like I've never voted via a mail-in ballot, so I don't even know how that shit works. How do you prove your vote through a mail-in ballot? Matter of fact, let's find out. Do you have to prove yourself via mail-in ballot? Do you have to prove yourself via mail-in vote? Let's see how that works, because I don't know how that works and I've never done it before, but I'm curious, would you have to? Let's see, voter ID requires for voting by mail in U.S., but generally most states verify mail ballots by signature comparison. For the first time, voters in federal elections who register by mail providing a copy of an acceptable ID with the absentee bailout is often required. First-time voters who register by mail must provide a copy of acceptable ID. Okay, so I don't know. I've never voted by that, but still, it doesn't make any sense. But there's still like some crooked stuff you could do, and if you don't require an ID in some states, then you just go to states that don't require IDs. Surely you can't rock up at a voting booth and say, I am so and so and vote. You must have it to prove yourself to get a mail-in ballot to start with. Hey, I don't know. I'm not even gonna lie. They say some states you don't have to, so who knows? Honestly, who knows? I've never went and tried to do it without an ID, and nor do I live in a state where it doesn't require one. So I can't speak on how that whole situation will look if I went without an ID. But with the midterm elections coming up, these people are not just gonna sit on their ass and twiddle their thumbs and sit on the sideline, because China and Russia are gonna strike back. It's going to be an economic hit. And while this is going on with China and Russia coming back with the economic hit, regardless, with some kind of economic war that I believe they're going to hit us with some kind of economic war type of thing that I believe that they're going to do, because they're not going to sit on their ass, which is just in the end going to affect the people, and the people are going to get the effect and feel, you know, the hit in the pocket. Now, with that going on, you have this midterm election coming up, and I'm going to let this person right here, Laura Logan, she had dropped this bombshell on a warning against America, speaking on the future midterm elections coming up, and speaking on how this is going to potentially pan out, because, you know, these people don't give up. It's always a constant fight, a constant battle, but they're still aiming for the same agenda, regardless of how the stage play may look from us from afar. So here we go. And yes, you're right. China, Taiwan is next. Exactly. That's what I agree. It's like, oh yeah, watch this. But here we go. I'm going to let Laura Logan speak, and she's going to speak on how the left is going to proceed forward with the midterm elections. So let's see what she has to say. Here we go. Where are we at? There it is. I don't see how the Republicans won the midterms. Well, check this out. Here we go.
This is going to shock you, but it was the Gates Foundation. Yep. So what did they unveil this week? A globally interoperable digital identity infrastructure that permanently tracks every individual's vaccine status from birth. If you think because Donald Trump is in the White House that they have paused for one single moment, I am here to make it very clear to you that that is not accurate. This agenda is moving forward at high speed. Some things have been slightly derailed, but the strategy to counter that is to stall and stall and stall. You should know that none of his executive orders have been legislated. Not one. And if you think there's 3 more years, I wouldn't count on it. Because the plan is to take the midterms and impeach him. Mm-hmm. And what he'll be impeached for will shock you. Because fabricating crimes didn't work so well last time, did it? Didn't work. This time it's going to work. You want to know why? What's the one thing everybody in this room wants? How about accountability?
Accountability with Epstein files, I'm assuming?
Why is it the one thing that matters? Because nothing you're doing, nothing I've ever done, is going to matter if we don't have accountability. Because what is accountability going to do? If we don't have accountability, all of the people who did what they did during COVID are going to do it again. Mm-hmm. The Gavin Newsoms of this world are just going to keep passing more laws that take more of your freedom away. And somebody said something about why it's California. I'll tell you why it's California. Because you're the closest to a Marxist society in this country. Mm-hmm. You are the Marxist state of America. And this is the testing ground for all of these systems. Mm-hmm. Who runs the elections in Los Angeles? That's correct. Yeah. That is actually correct. Mm-hmm. How do they do it? Through Smartmatic. Mm-hmm. Why is Los Angeles the only place in America where Smartmatic still runs the elections? Not because there aren't other types of fraud in other places, but because California is the testing ground for how to create these things and proliferate them at scale and then push them beyond. There are 22 states in this country that are currently under Democratic control, and at least 2 or 3 that are rhinos that vote with the Democrats. How many states does it take to change the Constitution? 2/3. Mm-hmm. 2/3 majority. So if you think you're safe, you're not safe. Not even close to being safe. And this program...
Yeah, so you heard it there first. She basically broke that down here on a whole thing. And if you couldn't hear what she said, because it was kind of hard to hear, I'll go ahead and read this to you to let you know what she said. She basically said that the agenda never slowed down, not for 1 second. While people think everything stopped because Trump is in office, the machine kept moving at full speed. And here's what she laid out. Bill Gates backed digital ID just unveiled. A globally interoperable system that permanently tracks vaccine status from birth. Executive orders, none are law, not a single one for that Trump has put out. The plan isn't to wait out Trump. It's to take the midterms and impeach him. And this time, she says the charges will be designed to stick. This didn't pause, it adapted, stalled, delayed, regrouped, and that's the strategy. Then she got to the core of it. Accountability. She said, without it, everything repeats. No accountability means COVID abuse happens again. The same people do it again. And she named the testing ground, which is California. Her words, not softened. Closest thing to a Marxist state in America is California. The laws that steadily strip freedom and the blueprint for national rollout. Why California? Because it's where they test systems before scaling them nationwide. She pointed out straight at Los Angeles elections. Smartmatic still runs them. Only major jurisdictions where it remains. Not an accident, a controlled environment. Then came the math that should scare everyone. That 22 states are already under Democrat control. Several GOP states vote with them. Only 2/3 of states needed to change the Constitution. And her conclusion was blunt. If you think you're safe, you're not. Not even close. And she ended it with this. Without real accountability, none of this stops. Without mass consequences, the roadmap is already written. So, even though we see all this stuff happening, you know, Venezuela getting free and all this stuff going on, we got a midterm election coming up. All right. We have a midterm coming up, and that speech that she laid out seemed very whoops. And that speech that she laid out is very blunt and very, you know, direct. Because like I said, they're not gonna stop. Like I said, the agenda goes both ways. It doesn't matter if you're red or blue. It goes both ways. But the blue is the one that wants the Marxist society. They're the ones that want the Marxist communist society, and that's what they're pushing towards. Both sides want it, but it's like the blue is going to be the one to get it. You know, you're going to look at, you have to have two sides. You have to have like one side's fighting the other side, but both sides want the same thing. But you got to have one that looks like it's fighting the other, while the other one is the bad guy and this is the good guy. But you know what I mean? You kind of have that thing going on. Is where we're at this point. And with the midterm elections coming up, they're trying to impeach Trump. Trying to impeach him. That's why I say maybe, you know, part of this Venezuela thing, Trump might be trying to get some Venezuelan immigrant votes on his side. That's when I'm saying, like, maybe he's trying to, because, you know, the blue got the Somalis. You know, so maybe that's what they're trying to do. And now she mentioned that they're trying to change the Constitution. What's needed to change the Constitution? I was going to save this for later, but I got to play this now since that came up. Let me show you what Shlomo Kramer, who is the Israel cybersecurity billionaire. Listen to what this man says, all right? I was going to save this for later at the end, but since that came up, we have to speak on the Constitution at hand since she brought it up. Let's hear what this guy says about the Constitution. A billionaire, cybersecurity Israeli billionaire. Let's hear what he says about the United States Constitution. Here we go.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect. I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it. And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah. I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time.
I know that was hard to hear, so I'm going to go ahead and read it for you real quick. I know it's hard to hear, but it says right here, Israeli cybersecurity billionaire Shlomo Kramer says it's time to limit the First Amendment. We need to control all social platforms and take control of what they are saying. I'm going to read it. I'm going to play it again, but I'm going to read it to you so you can hear what he's saying. So just make sure, because I know it's hard to hear. So here we go.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment.
It's time to limit the First Amendment.
In order to protect it.
In order to protect it.
And quickly before it's too late.
And quickly before it's too late. And this lady's about to ask a question. What exactly do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms.
He says we need to control the platform. He's speaking on social media platform. Cybersecurity billionaire.
All the social platforms, we need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online.
So basically, we need to make sure that there's authenticity of what people are saying on all these social media platforms. So we need to basically make sure that what they're saying is authentic on a social media platform.
Online, and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
And then we need to take control over what they're saying on the internet and their ranking. And he's saying that, and she said, to be clear, the government. He said, yes, the government needs to take control of what people are saying in their ranking on the internet.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah. I know it's.
He says the government should have control of the social media. So there you have it right there. That is an Israeli cybersecurity billionaire who's speaking on social media platforms need to be governed by the government, and the First Amendment right needs to be limited in order to be protected. And somebody right here says, an unelected tech billionaire demand we limit the First Amendment tells you everything. The moment their powers get questioned, they want censorship. Free speech terrifies people who survive control. Americans don't kneel to that ever. It's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a hard one because when you look at certain things, you can't help but look at stuff like this. Let me show you. You're fighting, but when you fight, you keep seeing, the fight in America is getting harder and harder and harder and harder because you got stuff like, you got stuff like this going on right here. Mandami, he had his inauguration, right? And yeah, check him out. Check out he celebrated his inauguration. So don't mess with the Zohan. Our inauguration happened in New York. Check out who he had performing there. Check it out. I mean, I don't know, bro. It's not looking too shabby. It's not looking too good. It's just not looking too good, if you ask me. I mean, and then he went ahead and gives on a speech. Let's go ahead and hear the speech that he gives real quick, because of course he had to give a speech. So let's hear a little quick 30-second clip of his speech that he gave at his inauguration. So here we go.
We will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it. Because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers. We will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
With the warmth of collectivism. So yeah, there you have it. It's on the way. It's coming. It's coming. And in the words of Ayn Rand, what she say? Fascism, Nazism, communism, and socialism are only superficial variations of the same monstrous theme: collectivism. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. Ayn Rand has made her way on the show, and she has dropped some knowledge to you to let you know what these things mean. Thank you, Ayn Rand. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's not looking too shabby, bro. Like, this year is going to be a hell of a ride. This year is going to be a hell of a ride. And we just getting started. And I ain't even got to the next part of what I want to talk about yet. We just starting off on good old Venezuela with Trump and things, and then we migrating over to see how this stuff is coming together. And remember, the cybersecurity billionaire just told you that we need to limit the First Amendment and protect it before it's too late. And it's like the government needs to have control over what you say on the internet. But then, I mean, and I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. If that's true, well, not if that's true, when that gets here and that's coming, like, I'm gonna speak for myself on this. You probably are not gonna see me on YouTube anymore because they gonna shut my ass down. Like, I can't be saying what I'm saying right now. I can already tell you this right now. The shit that I be saying, cussing and all this stuff, like, I'm not gonna be able to talk like this. They gonna be like, who? DnL&x? What did he just say? Oh, hell no. Nuh-uh. No, sir. Go. Hey. That's what they gonna try to do to me. I'm gonna be like, oh, how could you? They ain't gonna let me, bruh. I'm not gonna be out here. They not gonna allow me to talk. I'm gonna have to migrate to Patreon or something, or Locals or something. I'm gonna have to change and be able to talk like this on a different platform. It's just, I won't be able to talk like this on, and hell, who knows if they do paywalls? You know, they might even disrupt paywalls to where you can't talk like that behind paywalls. Who knows? You know what I mean? I may have to do my shows on like OnlyFans or Fansly accounts or something like that, or Locals or Patreon or something. Like, I have to find somewhere else to go because I can't keep talking like this over here. They not gonna allow me to do it. It's not gonna work. It's just not. They ain't gonna allow your boy to keep talking like this. Now you have another man who actually spoke on Don't Mess with the Zohan's inauguration speech about collectivism and frigidity of individualism and moving into the warmth of collectivism. This gentleman here spoke on that, so let's hear what he has to say about his experience with certain situations that he's been through. And you know, he has an accent to his voice, so he's probably been through a country where he had to deal with collectivism. So let's see what his 2 cents are, speaking on the words of Don't Mess with the Zohan. Here we go.
History. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
Famous words spoken by every communist in history. Hi, my name is Bogdan, and this is exactly how communism came to power in my country, Romania, via collectivism. First, they confiscated private land. Then they used terror to enforce collectivism. The regular Romanian citizens were arrested, beat up, humiliated publicly, left to rot in prison, and some even executed. The next step for collectivism was destroying the independent farmer class. These people were a threat to the regime because they were able to stay self-sufficient and did not rely on the state. Independence was and still is the biggest threat to communism. They made it in such a way that owning more than others was a crime. Once all that happened, the communists started confiscating the food from farmers, leaving families to die.
He said owning more than others was considered a crime?
I said, goddamn.
They also confiscated the livestock raised by people. This resulted in famine, malnutrition, and the collapse of productivity. Romania literally went from being the #1 exporter of grain in Europe to chronic shortages of food. But that wasn't enough. The communists then banned free market. No free sale of crops, no private trades, no bargaining, classic socialist failure. But collectivism wasn't just economic, it was cultural as well. In Romania, they attacked the church and religious people. They replaced family authority with party authority, all with one goal in mind: replace faith and family with the state. 15 years later, the communists declared victory. 90% of all farmland in Romania was collectivized. Bottom line, Romanian collectivism was forced, violent, economically disastrous, morally corrupt, and designed to control, not help. Only for today in the United States of America to be in New York City. I swear to God, some Americans are the dumbest morons on the planet.
Well, buddy, tell us how you really feel. But round of applause to that gentleman. Jesus. Well, sheesh, you know what I mean? He said he was in Romania when that went down, so, you know, can't really argue with him there, you know. Then, you know, we see Venezuela got its own thing going on over there. You know, they got the largest thing in oil, so they got their own thing going down. It's not looking too shabby, and the tech billionaire, cybersecurity billionaire in Israel clearly said that he wants to go ahead and let the government control all of the speech on the internet. So, I mean, what he just said kind of falls in line with what the Israeli cybersecurity billionaire said. I mean, he practically is in line with what we just heard. So you can't call him a liar, because the cybersecurity billionaire from Israel clearly stated that the government needs to control all of that shit. So, I mean, it checks out. It checks out. Like, all this shit comes together. It's like, good Lord. Oh man, like, don't be afraid, but good golly. Whew, man. Yeah, we're in for some pretty interesting times coming up here in this near future. And but I must say this though, to be quite honest.
But wait, there's more.
It don't stop there. We keep on going and going and going and going and going, because then, you know, we're going to go ahead and trickle on over to the good old Somali people of Minnesota, IA. All right. So we're going to go ahead and slide on over to these folks. Now, this is going to be an interesting take. All right. Because this has a lot of layers to it. This has a lot of layers to it. I don't mean to laugh, but you can't help but to laugh. Let me make sure I didn't skip out on nothing. All right, so is all this good? Yeah, all this is good right here, because then this is gonna lead us into what the thumbnail looks like. I don't know if you've seen the thumbnails of this video. I hope I don't get in trouble for it, but we'll see. So now we're gonna slide on over to the old Somali people. All right, so the Somali people in Minnesota, they've been out here doing their thing, and people have been calling fraud on Somali and all this stuff like that, because they're running daycare centers and fake invoices and just be getting paid like crazy off the government titty and all that good stuff. And people are really upset. They're outraged about what they're doing. They're like, this isn't right. They shouldn't be able to do this. And, you know, they're frauding the government, and the Somalians, they're pirates, they're thieves, and yada, 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 whoop-de-whoop, and this, that, and the third. Well, okay. I can partially agree to that. I have a partial agreement to that. But we're going to dive in, and we're going to watch a video by a content creator. The Minnesota thing is just a distraction. God dang it, Tiny Aim. I'm going to have to read your comments quietly before I read them out loud, because you are on point, damn it. You are so on point. You're on point. I can't even be mad at you. You're correct. But let's go in and let's look at the Somali situation right now. We're going to watch a video by content creator by name O'Shadu Jackson. I'm going to get some commentary into this video, and we're going to kind of, you know, interject as we go along and look at some different things as what's going on. But I'm going to put my little twist on it as we go a little further to kind of give you a deeper dive as to like how deep this shit really goes, because it's gonna get deep. All right, I'm gonna go deeper than what the average person's gonna go to. You know what I mean? Just ride with me here, because I got time today. I got fucking time today. I'm gonna break this shit down like a fraction from my perspective. You're gonna get the way I see things. This is how I'm gonna break this down to you, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with this video, all right? Let's jump right on into this thing. It's like the old saying, watch what they do, not what they say. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and start this video. All right, so here we go.
By the name of Nick. On December 26, 2025, a YouTuber by the name of Nick Shirley dropped a very interesting video targeting the Somali community. And it was called, "I Investigated Minnesota's $1 billion fraud scandal." Now, a part of the scandal here was dealing with Minnesota's situation with these daycares, okay? And a lot of the daycares in the Somali community allegedly have no children in them, but yet people are still making a lot of money. A lot of these daycares are being funded by the state of Minnesota. And so what's happening is that he showed up to these particular daycares, you know, basically asking them questions, hard questions. Some of the daycares that were filmed in his YouTube videos were harassed, allegedly, according to the Somali community. But there.
All right. So as you can see, they have these Somalis doing their thing with these daycares. And the daycares have a situation where they're using these daycares as they're just using it as a way to get money. All they're doing is this. You know what? I'll show you the video real quick as to how these daycares are being ran. I'll show it to you right now because it makes sense to know how this is going so we can understand further before we move forward, getting the grasp on how they're getting money out of these daycares. So here we go. Let me just show you this quick video. This is going to explain how they're getting money out of these daycares. So let's go ahead and watch this video. It's a little quick 1.5-minute video. Let's watch this. It's saying this is out of Washington State, but I would add this to any freaking, I would add this to Minnesota as well, because it seems like this is how they're making the money. And I guess when you really look at it, I would have to say, like, it's not a bad idea. I'm sorry. Like, when I look at it like this, I'm like, it's not a bad idea. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, if this shit works, it works. But at the same time, I get why people are upset because of the documentation and stuff like that being allegedly frauded out. But let me show you how they're getting the money. This is going to explain to you how this scam is working, allegedly, this quote unquote scam. Let me just show you this real quick. All right, so here we go. Let's watch this little quick video. All right, so right here it says, so you are Somali. You know what? I'll just read it to you as we go along. It says, so you are a Somali in Washington State and you have 4 children. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop it. Okay, your Somali sister lives right next to you with her 4 children, and you tell Washington that you are an in-home child care provider. Okay, and then your sister tells Washington State that she is also an in-home child care provider. Okay, both you and your sister now apply for a state-paid child care because you are both working. So both sisters have 4 children each. And then now, this is now, are you ready for this? Welcome to the Washington State, and you and your sister are approved for state child care. Your qualifying job is being a child care provider to your sister's children. And your sister qualifying job is being the daycare provider for your children. So they both got 4 kids each, and now they're both in-home child care providers for each other's children. Washington State pays in-home child care providers between $24 and $33 an hour per child. And then they're going to show us the math. 4 times $24 and 8 hours equals $768 per day. Is that right? 4 kids times 24 times 8 hours. Why did you get 4 times 24 times 8 hours? I thought it would be $24 times 8 hours. Maybe the 4 is the days. All right. And now you work 5 days a week taking care of your sister's kids while she works taking care of your kids. So now that equals to $3,800 per week. Now there is a by state standards for 4.2 weeks per month. And then 4.2 weeks per month times 3,800 equals $16,000 per month paid to watch your sister's kids and vice versa by the taxpayers of Washington State. And before you scream, you can't receive state paid childcare because you would be over income. You are now a private business. You deduct your home costs, food for children, and your car payments, insurance, and more. And now you are suddenly still eligible for state-paid childcare. Welcome to Washington State, corruption at its finest. So I'm assuming that Minnesota, because I haven't dug into Minnesota, but I'm assuming that Minnesota may have something similar to how this thing is being ran. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on and watch how this thing goes. And let's see. So now that you have an understanding of how this scam is working, let's continue to watch how this situation unravels. So here we go.
There was a young man that came out and made some interesting.
This is the real me.
Oh, yes. So now we're going to see exactly Somalian people, since if you don't know, the Somalian people have been getting cracked down on allegedly with the situation of them scamming, and they're supposed to go in and the government officials are supposed to come in and check or audit or, you know, their building or whatever, their place of work and stuff like that. Well, what ends up happening is someone, before the government could even show up, someone has broken in to their place of work, and you won't believe what they stole. It's pretty crazy. I'll have this guy tell it because I like the way he talks. This guy's pretty interesting. Same story, but let's hear this guy tell the story that this other guy's about to tell about the Somalians who were about to get audited, but an unfortunate event took place. Here we go.
So this Somalian dude with an IQ of probably 67 thinks that we're all just stupid. So he runs a daycare out in Minnesota. And as soon as the Department of Homeland Security said that they're going to start investigating these daycares because Nick Shirley blew it up, he came out on the news and announced that they had been robbed. Somebody came to their daycare and stole all of their important documents that would show about their employees and their clients. They stole that and their check receipts. Now, as somebody who was a career criminal for like 20 years, who's been convicted of organized fraud, I can tell you that documentation that they stole is absolutely worthless to anyone except the feds, because that could help the feds build a case against them. What crazy timing there. It's almost as if this whole thing is unbelievable. And the whole time that this dude who works at a daycare is telling us this on the news, he's wearing these glasses. These frames right here cost $2,400. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a working man, and there's 0% chance that I'm going to spend $2,400 on frames for my glasses. It seems like he has an excess of money. What do you guys think is going on here? Let me know down in the comments.
So with the excess of money that they have, now let's hear how the situation took place. They're going to explain. so we're going to go back to the original video, and they're going to explain and show how this happened. It is such a sad event because the Nick Shirley guy, because of him, people have decided to break in and steal their documents. Not the glasses, not the TV, not anything expensive. They just wanted the documents. If you've ever broken into anybody's house or ever stole anything, did you ever go and try to find people's financial documents just to steal them and leave all the other important shit behind? Yeah, I didn't think so. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what he has to say about this. Let's hear them explain it. It's pretty interesting. Whoops, where is it? Here we go.
Nasrullah Muhammad.
It made some interesting claims.
My name is Nasrullah Muhammad. That is spelled Nasrullah Mohamed. I am the manager at Nokomis Daycare Center, and today I want to talk about what happened yesterday. Yesterday morning, I
want to talk about what happened last night. Yesterday.
Called by the owner because unfortunately someone came in to our daycare. The cleaner called the owner and told him what happened and the vandalism that happened. The owner called us me and another manager came into the scene around 6 a.m. We looked and saw what happened, and we saw that the suspect came in from the back, broke in from the back kitchen, and he also destroyed the wall to come in. As he came in, he broke a door from the wall from Family Dollar from the side.
But there's more.
Okay, hold on. Before I let it continue, did you see the sign that the girl had up next to him? Here, let me show you. Where is she at? Right here. No child care equals no workforce. Okay, now I just showed you in a previous video. This video right here did not show you how the whole scam works. Like, you don't even do no work. I got 4 kids. My brother got 4 kids. We register with the place, right? We both register. I'm going to watch his 4 kids. He going to watch my 4 kids. Then we get paid to watch each other's kids, and then we write off everything: car, insurance, food, furniture, and every other stuff that we also got at the house. Like, so to say on this sign that this woman says no child care equals no workforce, I mean, to be quite honest with you, if this how the scam works, I must say, is how do you... The only way you could prosecute this scam, my humble opinion, don't call me, I mean, I'm not going to sit here, I can't say I'm a prosecutor or a lawyer. My only belief on how you could actually prosecute these people for this scam would be falsified documents. Other than that, I don't see how you can prosecute these people for doing this. Because if you ask me, if this is allowed to where, you know, I got 4 brothers or kids, and my brother has 4 kids, we live next door, and we just watch each other's kids, quote unquote. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's a hell of a good ass idea to do if you're allowed to do it. The only issue would be if you falsify something on the documents, then that and then itself is a crime because you're falsifying like federal documents. Then that would be the prosecutable part. But even then, it seems like they have a lot of protection behind them doing this, okay? They got a lot of protection doing this. Moving forward, they have protection. They didn't do this all on their own. Somebody's helping them put this shit together. They didn't just put the documents in and come up with this all on their own. This is a orchestrated event that somebody inside of the United States system is helping them do this shit and put it together. It's not just them. You can't get only mad at the Somalis for this situation. In my opinion, you can't. Because they didn't put the paperwork through. They didn't put the documents. They didn't all come over here on a plane with just this master plan and not have anybody in the system to be able to finagle and put this shit together. And then have media coverage to have this dumbass dude come on screen and give this old raggedy ass story. They came in through the kitchen. They broke in last night. I mean, yesterday. Bro can't even tell the lie straight. Like, it's ridiculous. So you can't just, and look at him. He looking at him like, you dumb motherfucker. Like, tell the story straight. But he can't. Racism has no place in childcare. There's no racism in place. This is the whole distraction. Like Tiny Ames said, this is a whole distraction. This is a whole coup being put together for a reason. And it gets deeper than this, and it tells you this situation, and not just this situation, but the whole shebang. It tells you that America is being sold out from within. But let's continue.
He couldn't, unfortunately, we don't know if that he went in or not, but we saw that it was damaged. As we walked around the daycare, we saw that our office doors was broken into as well. We saw that, unfortunately, there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone. There were...
Make sure that you got the white liberal woman over your shoulder. She this woman right here, this white liberal, she hold a lot of power. She do.
Also, checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news, and we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community, as one video made by a specific individual made this all happen. We've been receiving hateful messages through our voice notes threatening us since the past couple of days, including one that happened yesterday morning when the break-in, after the break-in.
Well, wait.
This is frightening and exhausting because this is happening to us Somali communities as Somali Americans. We are supposed to stand with each other and help each other through everything that's happening. This is also sad that a video can cause all of this.
Okay, well, if the video can cause all this, where is the video of the crime of this shit happening? Where you ain't got you? Hey, it's 2026 or 2025 when this happened. You're telling me that you got a daycare that you run with people's kids in it, your kids at that, and you ain't got no cameras? You ain't got no cameras where your kids or other people's kids are in a daycare. You have 0 cameras. Come on, son. But wait,
there's more.
Let's go.
I want to say that there are hundreds of daycares out there, Somali daycares that are out there, and we all help our children and everyone in our community. We have high quality daycares, and this is very sad news that one individual who made a false claim about fraud that is happening in the daycares engaged everyone else to come and do this to us.
I learned that ChatGPT.
Oh boy. Now look, like I say, these people, they're not doing this by themselves. Because he can't even tell this lie straight. This is terrible. This is terrible. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you gonna tell me a lie of bullshit me, at least like make me like give you credit for being a good bullshitter. I can't even give this dude credit. The only credit he got is that liberal white woman over his shoulder going, shaking her head every time he says like something profound. I mean, like, this is terrible, dude. This is bad. I'm like, come on, son. Like, you could do better than that, man. I mean, this is how I feel at this point with him talking. But let's let him wrap this up real quick. Here we go. Oh my goodness, this is complete outrageous.
Else to come and do this to us.
And
we are not a part of any harmful things that are being said. We have no problem with CCAP, and our licensing has been good, even the inspections. I want to say no intimidation is going to stop us from what is happening and upguiding our community. Thank you very much.
Damn.
So this guy is saying, oh, all of a sudden, somebody broke into our daycare, stole all of our documents, stole our checks, related to the employees and children that attend, and then blamed it on Nick Shirley.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the you think you is?
Before I get back on that, again, one of these other guys, right? These guys who run one of these daycares, he was interviewed and he directly had a legit criticism of Nick Shirley.
As Minnesota, as Somalis, as people that own this business for 8 years now, we do nothing but to uplift the community, uplift our children, uplift one another, uplift non-Somalis, uplift Somalis, to make a better community for all of us. So if somebody comes in and says, hey, they're not doing it, it's just like if he would have came during operational hours and there's no one here, okay, you've got a point. He came, I think it was 11 a.m. Obviously, there's no cars in the parking lot. If you look around, there's cars now. Yeah, because our employees are here, our children are here, our clients are here. But don't come at 10 a.m. and get like, hey, their door's not open. Obviously, our door's not going to be open at 10 a.m. We're not open 10 a.m.
What daycare is not open at 11 a.m.? Now, let me give you. Let me give him some leeway, okay? I'm gonna give him some leeway, all right? It shows right here. Quality learning childcare hours of operation are from Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And they said he showed up at 10 or 11 a.m. outside of operation hours, right? He showed up at 10 or 11 a.m. So it wasn't operation hours. So he showed up at the wrong time. Okay, keep that in mind. Let him finish.
The sign on the door says that.
So he's saying, listen.
Okay, cool. He finished. All right. So he just said that, and we just saw the paper. Okay, I just showed y'all the paper. The paper shows right here. I want to make sure we're on the same page. Right here, hours operation Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. All right, cool. He showed up at 10 or 11 a.m. outside of business hours. Okay, cool. Now that we got that cleared up, let's go ahead and take a look at what happens when you show up during business hours. All right. Hey, hold on. This shit gets good. Wait, I'll show you this. Let's take a look at what happens when you show up during business hours. All right. Somebody finds, and look, this is the same building, right? This is the same building we've been looking at. This is Quality Learning Center, right? This is it, the Quality Learning Center. All right. The business hours was from 2 to 10 p.m. What happens when you show up during business hours? Let's go.
Hold on, man. What you said? What?
You can take a picture from the sidewalk. That's not
this private property?
Yeah, that's not trespassing. So
hey, I'm just trying to enroll my kid.
Just letting you know.
Can I enroll my kid? His name's Abdi. Abdi.
You can the sidewalk.
Procedure for that. It's not like
A procedure? Can I get papers?
Come back we'll come back to us when we're open on regular hours and we'll work on with you guys.
It's 3:48 on a Tuesday. This is now business hours?
Business
3:48 on a Tuesday. This is not business hours. Come on, son. All right, so we just seen it, right? We just saw this guy right here. Well, not you, buddy. Get off the screen. So we just saw this guy right here, right? We just seen this dude right here. He just told us that he showed up at 10, 11 a.m. outside of business hours, and then we get there. We get their hours of operations, Quality Learning Center for childcare, whatever, Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. But then we get this right here, and this is the same building. Matter of fact, here's the phone number. Contact us, 612-702-4012. 612-702-4012. He said, come back during normal business hours. He said, bro, it's 3:48 or something like that on a Tuesday. Your hours of operation is from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. The last guy showed up outside of business hours, remember? He showed up at 10 or 11, which is outside of business hours, which is on your hours of operation. So that's fair. That's fair game. I give you that. You're right. The dude, Nick Shirley, showed up outside of business hours at 11 or 10 a.m. when it shows your hours of operations from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. But this dude shows up at 3 something on a Tuesday, 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. And this is what you say to him when he show up.
Hold on, man. What you said? What?
You can take a picture from the sidewalk. That's not
this private property?
Yeah, that's not trespassing.
Hey, I'm just trying to enroll my kid.
Just letting you know.
Can I enroll my kid? His name's Abdi. Abdi.
the procedure for that. It's not like
A procedure? Can I get papers?
come back we'll come back to us when we're open on regular hours and we'll work on with you guys.
It's 3:48 on a Tuesday. This is now business hours? Hold on, man. What
My goodness. Like I said. I'm sorry, but you can't. Oh my goodness. And again, this is my point. I don't blame the Somalis for what they're doing. Somebody is helping them on the inside. They're getting help on the inside. Somebody inside of some American is selling out the Americans. Because there ain't no way. It's not their fault. Somebody is giving them let me give you an idea of what it looks like when an American potentially sells out an American. Let me just give you an idea right here. So let me just show you right here. This is an idea of what it looks like when American sell out an American. Let me give you an idea. Let me show you. Here we go.
Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato!
Maaga Egawa Jacob Fry, Doke Magalada, Minneapolis. Damaan, Sha'abuka, Somalia. The bond between Somalia and Minneapolis is long-standing and it's deep. We will not let Donald Trump's bans alienate our Somali residents, our neighbors, and friends whom we love.
Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato!
So you can't 100% blame them, okay? They're getting pulled. Somebody's helping them pull this shit off. Somebody is helping these people pull this off. And it's your old people selling you out. Like, they're doing it in front of your face and they don't even care. But don't let this deter you away from, you have to remember, even though this is happening, it is a distraction. It's still a distraction because there's deeper shit going on than this. It gets deeper than this. This isn't as deep as it goes. It gets deeper from my opinion. From my opinion, this gets a lot deeper. You have to look at it on a certain level. We ain't there yet, but I just want to I want to put all this together just to show you how this works. It's crazy. This is crazy. When you look at the picture, it's like, damn. Like, you just can't help but just sit on the sideline and be like, this is just like, at what point do you stop listening to words and just study actions? Because clearly, like, they don't give a hot damn what you do or what you say. They're going to do this regardless. But again, it's to get you to look this way while they run a 28 sweep that way. You know what I mean? They're running a counter. You know what I mean? You sidestep this way. You got the guard pull over here, but you run back this way. You know what I mean? You got to run that counter fake on them. But let's continue watching this video and let's finish it up because we still got to go deeper into this conversation. So let's keep going. Here we go. Where is it at? Here we go.
We're not open today. The sign on the door says that.
So he's saying, listen, if the guy would have come at a certain time, you know, our daycare is open at a certain time. So I don't know why he's coming here and, you know, when we're not open at that time. So that's what's really going on. We're not open at that time. That situation, you came at 11, but you see cars are here. That's one way to look at it. So what happens is the people say, listen, this daycare, what daycare is not open by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m.? Woo! But this is a daycare that's open a little bit later, like the night shift daycare for like the Somalis who work like, you know, in the jobs. Some people work in the industry, some work, you know, a lot of Somalis work in almost every part of the private sector, all right? But then somebody else drops.
You live in a world that's designed to hijack your...
Okay. Get out of the way, Karen. Move out of the way. Yes. We know. You might be AI, lady. You might be AI. Get on somewhere. Get out of here with all that nonsense. I need to get premium. Continue.
Interesting point.
They found some like Somali scammer in Minnesota to try to pretend that their daycare center got broken into and that somebody had like stolen files or something like that. This kid has like a 3rd grade speaking level. And so they pop a New York Yankees cap on him, all right, to make him seem Black American. This is the most Democrat city council idea, Mickey Mouse ass media bullshit I have ever seen in my life. And what you guys don't understand about people that work in local politics is like they have no idea. Like they think that everybody else is as dumb as they are. This is without a doubt the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Will go nowhere, is laughable. And this is how stupid, not national Dems, because they would never be stupid enough to try to pull some shit like this. Like, this is how dumb local Dems think you are.
So this brother says, listen, you see the white folks in the back, right, holding the sign about racism. And they said, look, the Somali guy has on a New York hat, you know, basically, you know.
Okay, so he's just going to basically break down his clothing, his gear, and stuff like that. He's going to tell us what the last guy told us. He's sporting some $2,400 glasses, which we get and we grasp all that, okay? So when you look at this stuff on a grand scale, and shout out to him for this video because he did a really good job on that one. When you continue to look at it, right, you're still going to see that there's a bunch of other things that go on dealing with said particular community, okay? And it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And you can't help but notice that what it is that they're doing is, one, a big distraction. And two, if it's not a distraction, well, I can't say there's not a distraction. It is a distraction. But if it is a distraction, what is it distracting you from? What is the main thing it's distracting you from? Because, I mean, it gets worse. Let's take another look at another video of the same kid, Nick. Is his name Nick Shirley or Eric? I think it's Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley goes up and he goes to the same building once again. But let's see how he's met with opposition this time when he comes up there, and he has security with him when he goes up there. So let's take a look when he goes into the building and see how he's treated when he gets there, and see what he's called and see what he said, okay, or what's said about him. So let's take a look at this video. He goes to the same building. Let's see how this situation pans out. Let's take a look at this.
I just want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Why are you sensationalizing the propaganda?
What are we sensationalizing?
To attack our community. What's your final objective?
We're not attacking your community by any means.
All right, so you can clearly see the dude talking to him is trying to use big words. He's failing.
Are you making good money from this?
We're looking for fraud.
No, I'm
For instance, can you answer our question? Where's Safari Transportation Company 607?
1 second.
It's not there.
How much money are you? How much money are you making?
Dreamline Security.
How much money are you making
off of this? I make money
off
of YouTube. That's how I make my money.
Exactly. So you're making money off of sensationalizing.
That my job
and attacking the Somali community.
I'm not.
Sensationalizing is what he's saying. You're making money off of sensation. Is that the word he's using? Sensationalizing. If I'm not mistaken, he's saying sensationalizing. Let me see if I can find is there a caption? No, I can't find the caption right here. He's saying sensationalizing. Let me just make sure I got him correctly.
Exactly. So you're making money off of sensationalizing.
That my job
and attacking the Somali community.
I'm not attacking you guys. We're asking.
I'll tell you the reason why this is happening. All right. Let me tell you the reason why you're attacking
fraud,
this.
Correct?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with race. This is fraud.
This is absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa.
So he clearly stated why he's there. He said, I'm there because of fraud, what he believes. Nick said he's there because of fraud. That's why he's there. He's there because of fraud, and he's asking him, like about the quote unquote fraud. And then the dude turns around and says, you're making money from this? And he's like, yeah, I make money from YouTube. He's being transparent with him. And then he's trying to ask him, but the dude won't answer his question. Then he turns around and accuses him and says, this is why you're here. And then he goes on to explain why he's here. Here we go. Listen to how this turns out. Just listen to this. This is crazy.
It has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right. The reason why you're attacking
fraud,
this.
Correct?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with race. This is fraud.
This is absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa. This is a constitutional argument. If you don't want us here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, we don't want Muslims in this country anymore.
We're not saying
no.
We're
because
not
when I go onto your comments, when I go onto your comments, what I see is people that say we do not want Muslims here. Kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota.
He has no control over his comment section. He doesn't have control of what people put in his comment section. And just to bring something home real quick, he said earlier that you're here sensationalizing. Well, let's look at what sensationalizing means. He says you're because he did say that earlier. He says sensationalizing is to present information about something in a way that provokes public interest and excitement at the expense of accuracy. So, with your own wording, is he wrong? I don't see how he's wrong, because he said you're sensationalizing. That's what he said earlier. And that's the definition of sensationalizing. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Here we go.
You are, listen, you're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps. Just like the Japanese community, all right? You're sensationalizing.
No, we're not.
All right,
Sir,
something that
answer
can,
the
listen,
question.
that's
Again, you're sensationalizing. Presenting information about something in a way that provokes public interest and excitement at the expense of accuracy. I don't see how that's wrong if he's right. Let's continue.
something that can jeopardize the safety and the protection of the Somali community. If anything happens to the Somali community, listen, I'm not doing anything. I'm not physically touching him.
You're getting very close.
I'm not physically touching him. No, I'm not physically touching him.
This is fraud.
What you're doing, when I go into your comments, people who hate Muslims, who want us out of here for being Muslim, are using your material. Islamophobes use your material. People who hate Islam use your material.
What is an Islamophobe? Can anybody explain to me what an Islamophobe is? Does anybody know what an Islamophobe is? What is an Islamophobe? Anybody? First, let's start with the ending of the word. Phobia. What is a phobia? Does anybody know what a phobia is? A phobia is an uncontrolled, irrational, and lasting fear of a certain object, situation, or activity that often possesses little to no actual danger. It's categorized as a type of anxiety disorder and can lead to severe disruption in a person's life, with some individuals going great lengths to avoid the source of their fear. So if you call someone an Islamophobe, how does that make them a bad person, according to the definition of phobia? I don't understand that. Granted, the definition of the word phobia. Again, let's let this lady describe something about the word phobia. I'm going to let her take it away on this one real quick. Here we go. Let's see what she has to say about it.
They call it Islamophobia, but what is it really? Watch this.
Islamophobia is a stupid word. I mean, it's so self-contradictory. What are phobias? Phobias are irrational fears. But fearing a religion that demands my death penalty is completely rational. You know, I mean, apostasy in Islam is considered such a grave sin that Islam demands the death penalty for it. The Prophet Muhammad said, whoever changes his religion, him. But I mean, even the laws in Muslim countries, I have friends in Iran and elsewhere who have parents that were stabbed to death just for converting to Christianity. And this sort of things happens all the time. We just, as I said, don't hear about it because the media covers up all these things and like the persecution of Christians in the Muslim world.
Friends, family.
Okay, so I just want to get a understanding of the word phobia. So using this guy's words, because he's using these words like sensationalize, and he's saying Islamophobia, but words are important. use the words that you use are important. So if we're going to use words, let's understand what these words mean. And then when you look at the context and how these words are being used, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I'm not against Islam. I ain't against none of this stuff. I'm just looking at the words and what's being said, and it's like, you're not making any sense. It doesn't make any sense. How can you have a conversation with anybody? I don't care who the hell you are. Christian, Judea, black, white, orange, yellow, purple, Latin, Hispanic, Chinese, Hindu, India, Indian, Austria, Hungarian. If you can't have a conversation with anyone if it don't make sense. Let's continue this video. It's almost done. Or we're going to watch a little bit more, then we're going to press on.
Say to us, we don't want you here. Okay. Change the Constitution. Okay. But guess what? Let me tell you something. Guess what?
Say it. We're asking about
fraud.
No,
what you do, you hate Muslims.
I'm not saying I hate
Muslims. You hate Muslims. Why are you attacking us? Are we the only community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about fraud.
Are we the only community that does fraud? Are we the only community that does this? Okay.
This is about fraud.
All right, but there's what, 300 Somali providers in all of Minnesota?
There's actually.
I'm not. Don't touch me. Don't go close. Do you speak English? Right? Your security doesn't even speak English. Listen, let me tell you something.
See, this isn't a race issue.
Listen. Let me say something. This
is about fraud.
We have what, 1,000 providers?
Yeah, you guys have a.
Even it's 2,000 providers. Okay, you want to sacrifice the safety of 80,000 people because of fucking 2,000 providers? Okay. Are you fucking mad? Are you stupid?
I'm not stupid. You're stupid.
You're sensationalizing. What about if a mass shooting happens in Minnesota? It will be because of you. It will be because of you.
Again, sensationalizing with his words. The words he's using don't make sense in the context that he's using them in. At all. At all. Now, to go on a further understanding of said situations, let's try to look into the minds of how said people can think. All right, let's take a look into the minds of how said people can think. I don't know how much validity this holds. I just found this, and if it's true, then it kind of makes sense when you hear the outrage and the actions and the way these people are reacting and how they are angry all the time. Like just how we watched that dude completely disregard everything that he said. He said fraud, fraud, fraud. He stood on his square on what he was referring to, and the dude took it to far left field and was even using words that he doesn't even understand how they're the definition of his own words. Now, we're going to look at this next clip here, and this guy is going to speak on his Somalian neighbor. He spoke to a Somali neighbor that he has, and let's see what he said about his own Somali neighbor and what the Somalian neighbor told him. Let's see how much weight this holds and if this is true, but let's take a look. Here we go. Shout out to Anton Daniels. Oh man, let me fix this real quick. Give me 2 seconds. Can we fix this?
Yeah, Somalians.
There we go. We got it. All right, here we go. So let's check this out. Here we go.
His neighbors, and I talked to one of them, and I asked him about this whole Somalian fraud that's going on in Minnesota. And one of the guys explained it to me this way. He said back in Somalia, a lot of them come from clans. And Muslims have this thing where their spoils, even their Prophet Muhammad, whatever, he would go out and plunder people, and the spoils of war would be considered rightfully theirs. And whenever they would go to a place and they would subjugate the non-believers, they would put a tax on them. So he's like, the Somalians believe in Minnesota, their plunder is rightfully theirs, and it's just a tax that the white people are paying for the Somalians to the Muslims, to the non-believers. And so they do not comprehend the Western laws. They don't understand it. It doesn't compete to their Sharia law that they're practicing. And so this outrage, and so he explained this one little thing to me. He's like, In their religion, they're permitted to lie. So when you see all these Somalians in Minnesota, you know, being outrageous that their fraud is being exposed, he's like, they're permitted to lie. They're permitted to tax the non-believers. They're permitted to practice their Sharia law. They're permitted to plunder because in their belief system, it is rightfully theirs. So they don't understand why all these people are upset about, you know, all this fraud that's going on, because they've been practicing all this stuff they've been doing in Somalia. You know, they just brought their belief system here, and they do not understand why everyone's outraged. And, you know, so that's just, and I was like, well, that kind of makes sense, I guess.
Okay, so then that explains why that last guy was so irate and angry and all that. It explains it, but it doesn't make it right. I mean, it explains the mindset. It explains the mindset, but it don't make it right. It just explains the mindset completely, because he did explain the mindset of the last guy we just watched. He explained it pretty well without even trying to. Like, he straight up explained it. He was like, well, I mean, when you think about it, like, this is how they see things. You know what I mean? Like, this is how they see it. Straight up. There's no other way around it. Now, if that's how they see things, right? And that's the way they're going about things, then how deep does it go? You know what I mean? Because it can get pretty deep. But how deep can it go? Because we can see it get deeper and deeper and deeper, which is what I want to go in and take a look at on how deep this really does go, because it does get actually pretty freaking deep. Like, it does get pretty deep, because when you hear it come from someone of, how do you say it? You can hear this coming from people of their similar clan, I guess you could say, or their religion, because it's not all, the whole religion isn't just one way. It's kind of like Christians, you know. You got Christians of faith, you got conservative Christians, and you got liberal Christians. You know what I mean? They're all like three different in a way, which is weird, but it is what it is. So the same thing could go with the religion of Islam. You know what I mean? You got your radical Islams, and you got your traditional Islams, and maybe you have another one, I don't know, but it's different kinds. So I found on a clip where PBD, Patrick Bet David, he actually spoke to a dude, imam or a imam of peace. And he actually broke down the radical Islams, and the way he broke it down kind of gave an extremely accurate definition of what we're seeing over here in the West when it comes to the Muslims that are here. Let's take a look and see exactly what he says about said people of radical Islam that are over here. And he does a really pretty good job explaining this. But this is Patrick Bet David's Valuetainment. We're going to take a look at this video, and we're going to hear this guy explain Islam's plan to take over America. Let's see if this holds any weight, or if the words actually match the actions that we see. All right, here we go.
Community, how many of them view things the way you do? I've heard you say about this before. It's not a big percentage of people. But for you, a lot of people call you the Imam of Peace. I think your handle is even Imam of Peace. You may even call yourself Imam of Peace, right? And there's always a confusion between, this is the religion of peace, but we saw what happened on 9/11. This is religion of peace, but we saw what happened with Hamas and Israel. This is the religion of peace, but we saw what happened in Australia just recently. This is the religion of peace, but to me, you seem pretty peaceful. To me, you give me the vibes that you actually are trying to pursue peace. However, of the 1.9 billion, give or take close to 2 billion, how many of them think the way you do?
Right. So I am a follower of my religion. And to break it down in such a simple way, I don't think it would be fair for the religion itself or for its adherents, or for countries like the UAE, Bahrain, who are working very hard to establish peace and harmony, or their populations. So the distinction we need to make is between Islam and Islamism. Islam as a religion and Islamism as a contemporary political ideology that uses Islam to gain power. And Islamists are not a monolith. So there are Islamists who believe in participating in democratic principles. You'll find them running for Congress. And you have those who will simply engage in jihad, and jihad can be categorized in many, many ways. And I mean violent jihad. I don't mean the struggle of the self against one's desires. No, I mean going into a society and changing it, going into a community and hijacking their values and then preventing the host community from enjoying those values. Free speech, freedom of religion, expression, and so on.
Okay. So far, what he's saying is holding some validity. All right. So far, so good. Okay. He says there's Islam and there's, what did he call it? Islamist, or whatever he called it. So he's saying there's two different kinds of Islam, and the Islamist, I think is what he said, are using Islam for a political gain and for a takeover. This is what he's breaking down to us. So seeing what he says, is what he's saying hold weight to what we're seeing in society today in America? But let's continue. I got something in my eye.
So I would advise that we need to separate, we need to draw a fine line between the Muslim Brotherhood that was in the West first and the Muslims who came afterwards, who just want to lead a normal life. So there is no percentage that I can give you because we're not talking about the same issue. We're talking about a group of people who have hijacked a religion. And those people need to be understood because in Arabic we say "khotab saf al-istikan," which means you're stirring beside the pot or beside the cup. We need to stir in the cup in order to get the flavor of the sugar we put in it. So that's exactly what the extremists want to do. The extremist doesn't tell you he's an extremist. And the Islamist doesn't tell you he's an Islamist. They tell you we're Muslim. Osama bin Laden, for example, many people do not know he was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. Al-Qaeda came from the Muslim Brotherhood. ISIS came from the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is the paramilitary wing of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Now, I won't sit here and say that everything he's saying is 100% true. However, I will listen to what he's saying and apply the actions to what I see and see where it holds weight, if that makes sense. So let's continue.
This is not Sunni Islam. This is an organization with its own charter.
And that charter, I don't know which charter he's talking about, but I did have a whole stream. I had a whole stream where I read the charter, the Muslim Brotherhood of 1991 plan for North America. I read that whole document, at least what I had. I read the whole document from beginning to end live on a stream. I read the whole thing. You can go look at it. The name of the stream is titled the Muslim Brotherhood of North America 1991. You can go find it. And I read that whole thing. So if that's the brotherhood he's talking about, that brotherhood pack of North America, because when you read it, you understand it's a global takeover. So there's probably one for North America. So there's probably one for each continent, in other words, or whatever country or whatever, but each continent for sure. So I read that one and it makes sense. It's so far what he's saying, but let's continue.
That's the distinction we need to make. Otherwise, we will be discussing an issue that is very distant from the disease itself. And the evidence of that, I would point to, is the reaction to October 7. How many did we see flood the streets in support of Hamas? How many did we see? I could safely say across the American continent, around about 150,000 would have flooded the streets between Toronto and Montreal and New York. And that continues, but it's the same community. I don't think we saw 3 million flood the streets, Muslims supporting Hamas. That did not happen. And that turns into a policy question. Until when is the White House and parliaments around the world going to allow the Muslim Brotherhood to be the face of the Muslim community? Because that's exactly what it is. In Obama's time, CARE, which congratulations to Florida and to Texas, I think a very, very important move, designating CARE as a terrorist entity.
Which they're being sued right now, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
If there's anything we could do as experts on Islam and on counterterrorism to support the state of Florida against CARE and Texas against CARE, please reach out. I'll say this. I don't know whether they'll win or lose. It does not matter. The point is we cannot allow them to operate freely. And I do understand there is a lack of Muslim expertise pushing back against CARE because they're intimidated by them. They're like a mafia. That's exactly what they are. They're a Muslim mafia. And so congratulations to that. That is a very important distinction because CARE cannot walk into certain mosques. Please don't think CARE has the ability to walk into any mosque in America. No, they'll be kicked out. They have their own mosques. They have their own centers it's like a ghetto. So they're very isolated. But Obama brought to them and made them the face of the Muslim community in America, the Muslim population in America.
Why do you say Obama?
Because that's when they declared victory. They became advisors to the White House. If a president of the United States of America hosts a Ramadan iftar where Muslims break their fast, and then he brings a member of the Muslim Brotherhood community to initiate the call to prayer, that is a symbolic victory for the Muslim Brotherhood worldwide.
Now, here's one thing that he did say that kind of stood out to me. He mentioned that there's different kinds of Muslims, I guess, because there's one that's perpetrating to be a Muslim, I guess you could say, and then there's ones there's the real Islams, and then there's the ones that are acting like they're part of these Islams, but they're not. He said that the CARE people can't come inside to a mosque because they'll get kicked out. That means they got their own mosque, they got their own thing. So then my question would be, if you know anything about Texas right now, they have a huge Muslim population, or not even population, have a huge Muslim society community that's in like Irving, Texas, over in the Dallas area, like Irving, Texas or whatever. And they have a beautiful, and I mean a freaking beautiful community over there. They got they shit rocking. They got schools, mosque, neighborhoods, homes, beautiful homes, street names after them, playgrounds for Muslims only. Like they got a freaking beautiful setup. Now, if these are the ones, if this is what he's talking about, since there's two different kinds of Islams, if these are the Islams that he's talking about, I guess the ones that have the charter, the contract, the ones that are doing the takeover for North America with the Brotherhood Pact that was made in 1991, if these are the ones he's talking about, then could these be the same ones that are all linked together? You know what I mean? Like with the Somalis could, I think Somalis, majority of them are Muslims. So could these be the same type of Muslims or Islams that are being pushed all over, you know, to push forward an agenda? Because what he's describing these people. And then when I show the videos and look at the people that are talking, how they're, you know, how they're acting, just looking at their actions fit in with the ones that he are saying that are radical. He's the ones that we're seeing that are causing commotion are like the radical Islams. We're seeing them kind of like when you turn on your internet and you see Christians, you're probably going to see liberal Christians more than you see a traditional Christian, and the liberal Christian is going to pick up more traction for some reason, because that's the ones that are like provocative and that are, you know, pushing a negative agenda forward. So when you see this going on, you have to ask yourself, these people, whether it be Somalis or whatever kind, these people of the same religion, and he's speaking on the Islam religion, but he's saying that there's two different kinds of them. There's two different kinds of them. In his words, Islam, Islamist. He's saying there's two different kinds. My thing is, whatever they're doing, they're not doing it by themselves. You don't do this takeover alone. You have either Americans within your own soil that are selling you out. And they're allowing this stuff to come in and bringing these foreigners in to sell you out and sell out the country as a whole. So it's not just them coming over and doing it. You have moles on the inside of your own system, like Black Panthers. You know, they had moles. They had sellouts on the inside of their system, like the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson. I forget the name of that movie. Oh my goodness, where Leonardo DiCaprio had to play basically as like a mole to track down this mafia dude, but he had to pretend like he was really a mafia dude, but he wasn't. He was a cop. He was an undercover cop. Oh my God, what the name is that movie? It's such a good movie. Anyway, we're seeing this stuff go on, but you have to understand that these people are not doing this on their own. They're not doing this on their own. Now, when you look at it as a religious-based thing, religion, to me, in my opinion, is like the screen that they use to push forward their agenda. Okay? Now, when he's speaking on Islam, people, let's take a look at how or what type of Muslims or Islams that are roaming around in Texas, when he said earlier that these Khair Muslims or Islam people, they wouldn't be allowed in their mosque. They would kick them out because they're not the same. They have their own mosque. Well, let's take a look at this video and let's see if what he said, if these are those Khair or whatever, those kind of Muslims, because he said in Texas and Florida. Well, let's take a look at how those Muslims operate. So here's a video of the same dude again, little old Nick. He's been doing some hellified stuff out here. But he says the Muslims kicked me off their mosque in Texas. Let's see how this pans out. Let's take a look at this video. Here we go.
So a big federal investigation, I think by the DOJ or by the FBI, as far as there was a concern that Sharia law may be taking place here, and they did a full, what? I'm not lying, I'm talking about the investigation that happened. I'm not lying. There was an investigation, they found that no Sharia law was taking place with the investigation. What do you mean am I allowed to be here? Of course I'm allowed to be here.
No, you're not. Are you Muslim?
No.
This is property for the mosque. It's not for you. Hey, you're on private property. I need you on the other side.
Okay, so I can't be on this part? I can't be on this side of the street?
You need to be on the other side of the rope or on the sidewalk.
Just because of private property?
This is private property, yes.
Okay, so like they can kick me off the mosque. Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm just wondering why.
Public side's right there.
All right, I got you. All right, you guys just got kicked off of the mosque property, I guess. I just got moved off and they told me I had to come on this side of the sidewalk.
Very simple. Just on the other side of that yellow tape. Just on the other side and you're good, okay? You can do whatever you want.
All right. Okay, you guys, we already got kicked off the property of the mosque. It's kind of weird.
And click right here to...
All right, so as you can see, they got kicked off of private property of the mosque in Texas. And a dude said, are you Muslim? You can't be over here. You can't be on this property. It's private property. Okay, fair enough. Private property. We get it. But with that being said, the people who own that property, is it the kind of Islams or Muslims that he's talking about? Because he's speaking on two different kinds of Muslims or Islams. I don't know which one is it, Muslims or Islams. I guess they're the same thing. He's speaking on two different kinds. So it seems like the ones that we just saw were the Islamists and not the Islams. I guess you could say the bad ones and not the good ones. I guess that's the easier term to make it notice the distinction. But let's let him continue talking and see how deep this thing goes. Let's continue. Uh-oh, I messed up.
That's like infiltration 95% for them. That's how they see it. And they simply go back and tell their members, you know, it's not just about symbolism, it's more about motivation. Because the Muslim Brotherhood can go 10 months with no success. And all of a sudden Ramadan comes and they're in the White House. So it somewhat validates everything that they have been doing before they came into the White House. And it will, by extension, validate everything they do afterwards. Yeah, your immigration policy needs to be tied to your understanding of sovereignty. So if sovereignty is sacred, then immigration policy needs to be looked at through the same lens. You cannot have a weak, soft immigration policy at all. The UAE is a perfect example, so is Saudi Arabia. How is immigration doing there? It's perfect, 200 nationalities living together. Why? Because there is an excellent, not just good, an excellent vetting system. You cannot be someone who harbors jihadi ideology and simply apply for a visa to go to a Gulf state. They won't accept you because there is a serious vetting system. And if they figure out that you somehow got through, and by the way, there were some famous people who built a career simply because they were deported out of the UAE during the Arab Spring, the so-called Arab Spring. The policy is beautiful. The minute they figure out they made a mistake because they let someone in who then went online and made a comment or supported a certain narrative that is against national security, immediately, knock, knock, where's your bags? Pack up, DXB, Dubai Airport, straight out of the country. There is no negotiation when it comes to safety. Why? Because it's a security decision. So American immigration policy needs to be looked at through a security lens, not a political lens. That's what we're seeing in America. Everything with regards to the border has been a political question, not a security question. In the Middle East, the borders are looked at through the lens of security. That is why there are 0 terrorist extremists in Abu Dhabi.
Okay, so he's made a valid point. Unfortunately, I have a complete emergency that came up in the middle of my freaking stream. So I'm going to have to cut this thing short, and I'm going to have to pick up where I left off on this stream either later tonight or tomorrow. I'm just going to have to play this stream for picking up for where we left off here, and then just continue it later tonight or tomorrow. Unfortunately, a situation came up, knock at the door, so I got to take care of this. I'm sorry, I hate to end it like this. This really sucks, but I will continue and pick back up on this later on. Sorry to end the stream like this. I wasn't supposed to have this happen, but I got to take care of this. So I will catch y'all later. I'll see y'all later. I'll be back tomorrow, or either later on today or tomorrow. So I'll catch y'all later. Take care. Peace.
Thank you for watching D. Elliott Fitness live stream. Goodbye.
I'd rather be in the studio than in jail or on the street. Talking the wrong, coming off your teeth. Got that one hit to quit and knock you off your feet. It's big art, baby, I'm obsolete.